Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September 25th, 2022. It is a Sunday for me. Hopefully, you're having a good one, that this podcast finds you well. As for me, I'm a bit unwell still under the weather, still a little sicky. Actually, I would say last night was rough. It was rough, maybe the roughest of it. And I'm very sure now that I have a cold. It kind of just came through a little backwards, started with my throat being a little icky, and then I've just kind of noticed more and more mucus now, and I'm just like, now I've become the blob guy from the Mucinex ads. I don't know if you've ever seen those, just walking around, just causing havoc on this person's, I feel like that's me now. I'm that blob of mucus. But other than that, things have been good. I've been eating very badly, so here's some food corner for you. I went to Jets and got what is it they call it, the four corner pizza, just a small pizza, nice. I had pepperoni, sausage, red onions, yeah, and pineapples. So there you go. Um, I would like to tell you I'm going to eat better today, but it's probably going to be like a soup or something, and then I'm going to eat something really trashy later. So, give me strength, guys. Send me your vibes, send your prayers, or whatever. Hopefully I feel better soon. But we can get into some news. I actually wound up looking at it and had a decent amount, so I said, yeah, let's just go for the hat trick. Let's just do the three-peat. So I wanted to start with Yahoo News, Associated Press. Amended autopsy. Black man died due to sedative restraint. So this is an update on the Elijah McClain situation. Just essentially, I want to say we've covered this lightly before when the family was awarded money, but I'm not 100%. But essentially, run down what happened. Someone had called in, suspicious persons report because they had saw a man in a ski mask. Officers come out. I believe there was three officers who wind up on the scene. They spot the man. It's Elijah. Essentially, he's trying to let these guys know, hey, I'm not a threat, not any harm. He was just the nicest boy, nicest guy. And I say boy, I mean he's 23 years old. He's a kid. And these guys restrained him. They, according to what they say, their interpretation, he was resisting, he was being violent. So they had the EMTs on the scene inject him with ketamine. Now, the ketamine part is new because it wasn't initially in the autopsy. And now it's, more or less come up that it's hey, that might have been missed by maybe someone who just has less experience or whatever. But either way, it wasn't in the autopsy and it should have been. Which to me is a wild thing that it just gets omitted like that. But I mean, we were just covering, and how in another country, you have your morality police or whatever do whatever the fuck they want. Honestly, our cops are no different. Like I said before, there's a reason that the George Floyd thing reflects so, perfectly, so parallel to other people in other countries. We just oppression sees oppression, and it's at least good that, this is coming to light, especially on the heels of the potential trial. It kind of remains to be seen, but it does go in this article, kind of talks about, several pathologists and kind of experts, if you will. The initial Stephen Sina, let's see, there's a quote. Well, he concluded that the ketamine dosage given to McClain was higher than recommended for someone his size, was too much for this individual, and it resulted in an overdose, even though his blood ketamine level was consistent with a therapeutic blood concentration. Also, it's kind of added that other pathologists, what is it, Carl Wiegand, he kind of says, well, it might be too much of a focus on the ketamine, and it was more so that, he was, asphyxiated and he died of suffocation. There's another add-on that's like, hey, judging on how he reacted, like, via the body cams and stuff like that, no, it was the ketamine. So a bit of a difference in, opinions here on how exactly it happened, but it really is safe to say that there was a combination used that just didn't need to be used in terms of detaining this person who wasn't doing anything, who was just walking home, who happened to have a ski mask on and was threatening to someone because they were just there. Definitely is a shame, but hopefully this does kind of add to evidence, add to, what have you, because I didn't know this, or I maybe didn't think about it, but apparently a lot of people are like kind of saying like, well, do the EMTs need to even be charged? Should they be held responsible here? And it's like, yes, they were the reasons that the ketamine was administered. Like, and yes, it's definitely like fair to say like, well, it's hard to make a weight adjustment or weight, for the drug in the dark. You don't know this person's weight on the moment where he's being detained. But you can also see that a person's being detained and injecting them with ketamine is going to potentially have an adverse reaction to someone who's been like, struggling and fighting for their life. So yeah, and honestly, I think that manslaughter is a bit light. Obviously, I understand, that legally sometimes it doesn't match with how we feel about a situation, and when it comes to the law. So I get that, I understand that I have my bias there, but it just like, man, like I really hope that a verdict comes to this, and when that gets started or what have you, we'll definitely keep you posted on it. But I wanted to highlight it. Let's see, in Police Today, I guess you could say. Let's see, this was last updated the 23rd of this month. But dramatic video shows train plow into Colorado police car with woman handcuffed in the back seat. So I saw this footage like last night, and I was like, oh shit! Like, I just kind of was like, all right, I definitely want to talk about this. I guess essentially, police that came out to respond to a road rage incident, and there was like a firearm involved. They apprehended a woman and they put her in the cop car. Now, let's see, I got the name of the person. Yarini Rios Gonzalez. So they put her in the cop car, but they leave the cop car on the tracks. And to me, I'm like, you are a police officer. Like, in what world of thinking do you do that? Do you park your car on police tracks? I understand you're responding quickly and yada, yada, yada. But that is a like a hazard. Like, they have commercials about this shit. Like, I hear about that shit at least once a year. Like, you need to be careful. You need to be aware of what is going on at a train track. Like, what the fuck? So, not only does he park there, leave his car there, he then puts a suspect in this car. Rios Gonzalez. So, they then go to search her car, and that's when a train runs through. And, now, Rios Gonzalez is expected to survive, but she has been is still hospitalized with serious bodily injuries sustained from the crash. Now, there's going to be an investigation involved. I believe at least one of the officers is on paid leave, which, gotta love paid leave. It just says one of the officers. Let's see. Yeah, they didn't disclose the name of the said officer. Once again, love that. And then also the Colorado Bureau of Investigation is looking into the woman's injury while she was in police custody. So I'm not sure if they're just saying the train accident or if maybe there was anything potentially on top of that. But I kind of said all I said right there at the top, where it's just I think it's crazy that a police officer would just make such a grievous error. But, these motherfuckers find extra ass ways to fucking kill and hurt people. So it is what it is, right? Let's see. I got maybe my silver lining of good news here. We'll say this is a good news for the episode. I got this from Yahoo News, AP News. A family of Americans says he was freed in Taliban swap. So the American mentioned in the article was Mark Farish. He was a Navy veteran who had spent more than a decade in Afghanistan as a civil contractor. Now, he was abducted in January of 2020, and he was believed to have been held in Afghanistan by the Taliban-linked Haqqani network. Now, apparently this has been like, two administrations worth of, negotiations. Apparently when it came to Trump, they had already said that they wanted a man by the name of Bashir Noorzai. He was a drug lord and member of the Taliban who told reporters in Kabul on Monday he had spent 17 years and 6 months in U.S. captivity before being released. Now, they don't say where he was held. I think initially they said it was reported that he was held in Guantanamo, but then the U.S. said no, he wasn't held there. So, he was held on, drug charges. Apparently, I think it was like opium type stuff, like mass level. So they had him, dead to rights on that, and they really weren't trying to give him up. And I think from, the Trump part of the administration, there apparently, there was some ire arisen because potentially it could have been negotiated into the peace deal that the administration was trying to work out with the Taliban that led them to, making their move to Kabul to take it over, yada, all that shit. Then came Biden's administration and, things were still up in the air. People didn't know what was going to happen. But Biden has kind of come out and was saying, hey, we want to get him home. That's a priority for us. As well as, they're kind of on the heels of the Trevor Reed thing with the whole thing with Russia. Obviously, Brittany Griner is still up in the air, as well as the other person whose name is escaping me right now. I know it's fucked up. But, I think they just wanted to get another dub here. So they said, hey, we're going to make the deal. So both parties were traded. Now, I believe Frisius, I still cannot pronounce his name correctly. I believe he is en route. I'm not sure, where he's at currently, but Noorzai is back in Kabul, and so that deal was completed. So that was something I wanted to talk about on this episode. Let's see. I got one, and I know I shouldn't laugh. It's pretty fucked up. Anyone being assaulted over some dumbass road rage bullshit is stupid. But obviously, just the person involved make this a bigger news story, and just what happened. So I got this from the Daily Beast, and honestly, it kind of adds to the flavor. Sometimes I do like, also pun intended for the flavor bit, but their journalism is a bit hodgy dodgy, but hey, I'm here for it on this one. Let's see. Daily Beast. Beyond Meat boss arrested after trying to cannibalize man's nose. Cops. So, this is about Beyond Meat COO Doug Ramsey. 53-year-old man. Let's see. I want to say he's been involved with Beyond Meat since last December. This all takes place in a Arkansas parking lot, but another man in a Subaru inched its way out in front of Ramsey's Bronco and, made contact with his tire, and Ramsey just gets out and freaks out. He punches a hole in the back of the man's Subaru and then proceeds to get to the man, and starts punching on him, just starts wailing on him. And then, and this is where, the coup de grace takes place, he bites the man's, tip of the man's nose off, which is a weird fighting tactic. He threatened to kill the man, which is obviously fucked up. And he was arrested and is now charged with making terroristic threats and third-degree battery. So yeah, obviously the bit of irony is the Beyond Meat part. Um, Actually, if you're a listener, if you get a chance, please let me know what your thoughts are on Beyond Meat. I know some of my friends really rave about it; they like it. I personally am like, it's okay, it's fine. I will say it does kind of help me appreciate like old school veggie burgers, I guess you can say, or traditional ones that kind of just say, no, we're not using a meat. Like, we don't want it to be meat light. Like, it's supposed to be like meat, but not. Like, you just make it work. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think Beyond Meat's fine. It's whatever. Apparently, though, I don't know if Beyond Meat's necessarily doing too well. Economy wise, financially wise. But yeah, maybe that had to add to his stress. He's got a lot on his plate. But we can move on from this one. I got this one from Yahoo Sports, as well as some stuff I've kind of like learned recently from listening to some like ESPN shit. What is it? Once again, Start Here. ABC News really coming through this week. Let's see. Texts reportedly show Brett Favre was told by Mississippi governor that push for volleyball arena could be legal. So, this has been a big headline that I've kind of seen over the past couple weeks, maybe week, two, so. But apparently this has just been kind of like a breakout story, and just more has been kind of coming out to light. But essentially, let's see, Nancy New is kind of a key person in this, outside of obviously Brett Favre. But she had a text correspondence with him over the matter. She was then, convicted or whatever. She did a plea deal. And part of her compliance was actually, giving up a lot of this text information, which then led to others. And others also have been indicted as well. Now, granted, I will say at the top of this, Brett Favre has not been criminally indicted, but he is involved in some civil lawsuits. But essentially, Brett Favre is a Ole Miss, Mississippi State, whatever the fuck, alum. And he wanted to, I guess, quote unquote, give back. And part of his plan was pitching this deal for a $5 million volleyball team. And, what a coincidence. His daughter is going to this school, so, she would stand to benefit from this. Also, he was hoping to get $1 million or $1.1 million cash deal out of it as well. And now, of course, you're thinking like, okay, that's weird. That's weird. Like, I mean, you'd think like as an alum, someone who's made like so much money. I think he's made at least like $100 million out of playing football and, hopping in some Wranglers and doing some bullshit. Well, you see, he was hoping that this was going to go through government means, and that this is going to be a little bit of a tag team effort. And he had teamed up, obviously not just with this Nancy New person, but Bryant, who was also involved in this scheme, Phil Bryant, who was a state official, also government state official, I should say. Let's see, Tate is, but I can only think of Andrew Tate right now, which is not the name. But we've talked about him in terms of the Mississippi Jackson situation with the water. Now, Brett Favre apparently had some text messages with him as well, saying like, hey, my project's a little bit off track, I need some help. But at this point, even the likes of Bryant are like, yo, like, you need to chill. Like, you need to relax. Like, I don't want to go to jail. I'm too old for that shit. And, Bryant talking to other officials are saying like, yo, he's so insistent on this. Like, he's the one who made this deal. He's the one who made this pledge, and he's going to have to fork up the money, not us. But Brett Favre has been pretty insistent about it, at least, seen through some of these texts. Let's see, I can read at least one of them. Let's see. According to the filing, Favre texted Bryant on September 4th, 2019, after a meeting they and others had to discuss requesting an additional $1.8 million to $2 million for the programs at this new facility. Now, also, I should add here, this money is supposed to go to welfare. It's supposed to go to people in poverty and need. And Brett Favre is like, yeah, let's spend that so that money is going to help this college. Yeah. and then was going to take more money from whoever, like grant money, which is like, what are you doing, dude? And he says, oh, I didn't know. I was just like, just fighting really hard for this, but I thought this was all on the up. Even though there are text messages where he's asking like, hey, is there any way this is going to come back to me? Like, is there any way that they can publicly see this? Meanwhile, Nancy New, the person he's asking this to, is like, oh, yeah, no, you should be fine. That won't come up. But she's telling other people, like, oh, I'll get you the records for this. Where are the records? Oh, I'll get them to you. Anyway, this is between Favre and Bryant. We obviously need your help big time, and time is working against us, Favre wrote. And we feel that your name is the perfect choice for this facility, and we are not taking no for an answer. You are a Southern Miss alum, and folks need to know that you are a supporter of the university. Bryant responded according to the filing, we are going to get there. This was a great meeting, but we have to follow the law. I am too old for federal prison. So that's just one of the quotes. I definitely would implore you to look more into this if you're like, a Favre head or whatever the fuck, you're just interested, because there's a lot of text message correspondence to go through. But apparently also in this article that I didn't know specific to this, he was pushing for like an indoor facility while he's still in the fucking lurch for the volleyball shit. Because he was trying to like recruit like Deion Sanders' son or something like that. He's like, yeah, we really got to make this push ASAP. He was curious about it, and I told him we're going to break ground in like 2 years. It's like, bro, just fucking relax. Like, you don't need the money, and you don't need to do all this. But he was insistent. Also, not mentioned in this article, but something I pulled from listening to the ESPN shit. Apparently, it was worked out that the $1.1 million that he got, and like a part of this shit that he was going to help chip in or whatever, he was supposed to be actually helping out doing some work. Well, what's this said work? Oh, well, he did like a radio commercial or some shit, and that's more or less all that's been recorded. So, to me, this is fraud. I don't think there's to me about it, whatever the fuck. Obviously, time will tell what's going to come out here. But yeah, just really head-ass behavior from, I guess a former cheesehead or whatever the fuck. But yeah, also really weird that these politicians in the beginning, like, just wanted the attention from this guy. Like, it was so important to them. Oh, excuse me. But, yeah. So, I got one more to go before I let you go. I'm going to do my classic, I will say, no alcohol, just some water, some H2O. Trying to stay hydrated. Last one here, a bit of just, I don't know, obviously serious business, so I'm getting arrested, but, I don't know, this is gaming related, so not so much necessarily major headline news that we normally cover, but, figured I'd talk a little bit about food beyond meat, figured I'd talk about a little bit of a GTA 6, leak and some arrests, potentially. Let's see, got this from, what is this, PC Gamer? Busted. UK police arrest 17-year-old hacker in connection with GTA 6 leaks. So, that's big news. If you're not well aware, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been in development. People have been waiting a long time for this game. I've actually kind of been talking to friends and people because it really made me think. I started playing GTA, I played Vice City really quickly, like on the tail end of it. I rented it and I was like, okay, cool. Then San Andreas came out, and I was like, okay. Then I also played the PSP Liberty City Stories, because I didn't play Grand Theft Auto 3, and that kind of felt like that on a handheld. So, I worked my way up, played 4, then we get to 5. And all of these games I've mentioned, awesome, very fun. Honestly, despite the graphics on the San Andreas back, San Andreas is still one of my favorite games, just because it was Grand Theft Auto, but you could customize your character. He could get fat, he could get skinny. Hell, if you got the hot coffee mod on the OG one, you could get laid. But hell, you could do the most on Grand Theft Auto. You've always been able to, so it's a fun game. Grand Theft Auto 6 though has been in the works. People are chomping at the bit. They want it. Now, I want to say last week, there was a leak that came out. Someone had hacked and got all this information and leaked parts of the game. And, obviously this is raw, unfiltered, none touched up, unfinished shit. But, it was skeleton parts of the game you're seeing. You're seeing just gameplay. I watched a little sampler, an 8-minute thing. I didn't want to see too much, honestly. I kind of don't see the point of it. I'm still going to be hyped about the game no matter what, so it's whatever to me. But, it's still a big deal. Obviously, this is something that's very illegal. You're just spilling the beans on it. I think even that it said, too, that the guy said he had the source code of Grand Theft Auto and was, trying to sell it or do something with it. Also, there was a ramp up, too, apparently, that said person or organization did a hack on Uber. So this all ramped up. There's a lot of attention, a lot of press about it. And apparently the UK police have arrested a 17-year-old in Oxfordshire. Now, they haven't released the name of said 17-year-old. Also, they haven't officially charged them with anything, just an arrest. But apparently this 17-year-old might be linked with a group called Lapus, and it's LAPSUS, and then there's a $sign at the end. So either it might have been him or a group. Who knows what happened there? But this group has been tied to attacks on companies as big as Microsoft, Samsung, and Cisco. So they're no joke. They're no joke. So, time will tell what's going to come of this. If this is the guy who did it, are they going to charge him? How severe? What's going to go on? But yeah, a little bit of gaming news for you. I wanted to end it there with that. On that note, let's see. I got a Patreon if you'd like to donate. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Every $5 donation gets you Discord access. It gets you a shout out on the podcast. What else does it get you? I will talk about a news thing you'd like. And hey, there's even some incentive if you don't like me. You can tell some haters about the podcast if you like, which is a free way to, help. It's just tell good people, bad people, whoever. And if they don't like what I'm saying, they can pay me $5 and I'll give them a debate time. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll work it out. Whatever. I will work for you. In terms of free ways of hitting me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. And I'm also very socially online, so you can always find the podcast, or you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm pretty easy to find. But yeah, thank you for sticking around. I hope you have an amazing week. I hope it's full of triumphs and no tribulations. Hopefully the next time you're hearing me, it's less icky sicky. We'll see. Nature's crazy. But yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.